Hello everybody, welcome to my presentation on cultural identity. My name is Brianna Love and this is what my visual aid looks like. Let's go ahead and get started. Make sure you can see. So what is culture and what is identity? So culture is things based on beliefs, values, behaviors, anything like traditions passed down from one generation to another. Culture can also be things like food, music, and even religion. It can also involve social norms and even include the ways that we communicate. Identity is shaped by the experiences, values, and groups that we believe that we belong to with our identities, and even big groups such as families. So culture and identity can be similarly linked. Just because cultural background can place us apart from knowing our identity. So some people may identify with one group and be completely have a different group culturally. Culture and identity come together in a drastic way to influence and reinforce each other. So my person is my cousin named Morgan. She's also a 20-year-old student, college student. She does not go to UNLV though, she goes to CSM. I tried to upload a picture of her face, but it was not working. Morgan is Morgan Trejo. Her dad is on my mom's side. That's my mom's brother. She grew up in a bilingual household, so basically she spoke Spanish at home and English in public. Because she does speak Spanish, she does have a closer connection to our relatives just because she gets to go to Mexico and travel and communicate with them, whereas I struggle to have that connection with my cultural background just because I'm not bilingual. Her identity. Go ahead and show this one. So obviously being having that Mexican American background, that's what she identifies as. Her identity consists of being Latina, and because she is bicultural, she likes to include her Mexican heritage as well as her American heritage, just because obviously she does have that Mexican background, but she is an American US citizen. So she does believe that her American identity does shine a little bit brighter just because that's where she grew up. Even though her American identity does have a big role and factor in how she identifies, her Latina identity is just as important because it connects her with her family and her cultural history. Morgan communicates her identity through expressing herself by speaking Spanish with her relatives, or like I said, using English in public. She loves how her culture can be expressed through food and music. She loves to share that with me and her friends. She's a big person on like sharing everything with everyone. Discrimination. So Morgan did have to face some discrimination growing up in school, just because obviously she spoke Spanish, so when she was speaking Spanish to other people, people did have comments about her accents, or like saying, even though she does speak Spanish, she doesn't look Spanish or look Mexican, or what that characteristic would fit, or not being Mexican enough, being whitewashed, all of those things. Discrimination often happens during school just because the differences between in-group and out-group members. The reason that people discriminate in specifically school is based on the cultural differences, economic differences, the lack of knowledge that students have, peer pressure, and even stereotypes. Kids from a young age tend to form groups based on similarities like race, culture, and even social background. And then this is my last slide. This slide talks about what in-groups are, what out-groups are, and what we can do to kind of bridge that gap. So an in-group is basically made of a group who share a cultural identity, a similar cultural identity, and an out-group is people who don't share that cultural identity or cultural background. Being in an in-group can create that sense of belongingness, whereas being in an out-group can lead to that exclusion or unfair treatment. Morgan says that the most important way to bridge a gap between an in-group and an out-group is by being open and also through educating yourself. She believes that on either side, people should take the time to understand and listen to each other, especially their different cultural backgrounds or different perspectives and how that affects that person. Morgan encourages, as well as myself, for everyone at different backgrounds to listen to each other just as she does. Listening is not just by hearing the words, though. It's also by understanding emotions and the experiences about what people say. Some things can be deeper for others. By allowing people to share their experiences and stories, we can learn from that and create a stronger, more inclusive community. By creating that inclusive, stronger community, we can also break down those barriers that separate us, increase and deepen our relationships across different cultural backgrounds. Thank you.